It is Sunday and the final episode is tonight, so I know if I don't say my goodbyes now, I'll feel like I've done the show a disservice, and considering how much it's given to me, that would just not sit right with me. So I do warn you, we're not going to get through this without a bunch of tears. I started watching the show casually between season 2 and season 3. But the one thing I do remember is that I was transitioning from a job that I absolutely hated into unemployment. So there was a lot of uncertainty in my life and just the unknown. And I remember that the first time I met any of the cast, I'd finished my job on the Friday and I was going to London Film and Comic Con on the Sunday, and that's where I met Crystal. And I met Hecklin, Holland and Daniel. Just an urge to want to meet people from a cool show changed my life completely with just a few words, and that has been something that has just grown and grown, and words just can't describe how much this cast means to me and how much this cast has given me, from things that Crystal has said about introversion and just how to be happy has meant a lot. Posey talking about his depression, things that Edie has just constantly been there for me. And even on a lighter note, Hecklin did a video about getting laser eye surgery, and then 6 months later I got it because he'd recommended it. So that was one of the more expensive lessons that I had from Teen Wolf, but it still made such a change to me. This cast is an absolute gift. I have learned so much about the world and so much about myself just through their advice and the patience they have for their fans and the way that they see us no different. The cast just have this way of making you feel included and going out of their way for you and making you feel special. And I just think that the sense of family and friendship that is at the heart of the show is definitely something that is carried across into the fandom and the conventions. I have made friends at these conventions that I think I will carry through for the rest of my life, and I've gone from having no friends at all to having some of the best friends that I have ever had and ever will have, and that is all down to this one little show about a teenage werewolf. And as much as I testament that to the fans, I also think that a lot of that is coming from the cast as well, just embodying this sense of we're all one and we're all here for the same reason, and just this overwhelming sense of family. I know that I have come into this fandom with completely differing opinions from the majority of you, and yet I still feel as welcomed and appreciated and listened to as if we all cared about the same ships, the same characters, anything. I have learnt things about myself through this fandom that I couldn't imagine. I have drawn, I have written some amazing things, and I've just felt like I could be myself at these conventions in a way that I just can't at home. These conventions are my home, and it's heartbreaking for me to see these ending as well. I think a person that gets forgotten in a lot of these thank yous is Jeff himself. without him, we wouldn't have this show, we wouldn't have these characters. And as much as I know that the cast put themselves in, and they're the ones that are acting it, and they're the ones that are bringing these characters to life, their lines, their actions, be it good ones or bad ones, they wouldn't exist in the first place were it not for Jeff, were it not for the other writers. Alison, obviously Hawan, is a character that I have fallen in love with, and I can see so much of myself in her, and the rest of the characters, obviously they're all extremely important, but you know, the combination between Jeff and Crystal creating this character that means so much to me, and 3 years after her death still has such an impact on me. It's more than I can put into words. They have given us this story that has lasted so many years, and that we have fallen in love with, and we've been angry with at times, and we've been sad with at times, but it's been there. It was something one of the writers said, I think, at BiteCon, that I remember, that fan fiction is the stories that the writers can't write. And I think that's an important note to end on, that even though the canon of the show is ending, and even though we won't see it on our screens every week, the show is still there. The stories can still continue. We will still have it, whether we're writing about it, whether we're talking about it, whether we're theorizing on things that could happen or should have happened. The show is still going to be there for us, and the fans, I think, are all still going to be there for each other. So maybe it's less of a goodbye and more just seeing things in a different point of view. I don't know, maybe that's just me trying not to cry again. But I'm going to end it there, because I'm going to start crying again. Again, I just want to say a big thank you to the crew for all the work that they do behind the scenes that we don't get to see, to the writers, as I've already said, to the fans for just being collectively amazing. But again, I do want to just bring it back to the cast for just their overwhelming generosity, their overwhelming giving themselves to us so much, for sharing so much with us, for being so important in so many people's lives. I just don't think I can thank you enough.